talking to you about the difference between bugs and insects. So as you can see from this diagram, it says that all bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs. And that's a lot of words and sometimes doesn't make much sense. So if you ever took a geometry class, there's the idea that squares are all rectangles, but not all rectangles are going to be squares. That's because the criteria you have to meet to be a rectangle is a lot smaller than the criteria you have to meet to be a square. So rectangles are two sets of parallel sides, and then squares also have to fit this criteria, but they have the additional criteria of having all four of their sides be the same length. So, same idea applies here. As you can see, insects are going to have 6 segmented legs, they're going to have a chitin exoskeleton, they're going to have 2 antennae, they're going to have compound eyes, and they're also going to have 3 body segments. And then you can see that bugs are inside of the insect circle. So they're going to have all of those things, but they're also going to have the additional criteria of having a straw-shaped mouth part, they're also going to have incomplete metamorphosis and partially hardened wings. So just to bring up a quick image comparison, you can see that the bug that I've chosen, which is a stink bug, and then the insect on the left, which is a butterfly, they both have the 6 segmented legs, they both have the chitin exoskeleton, and they have 2 antennae. And probably harder to see from the image, but they do both have the 3 segmented body parts and compound eyes. But in addition, bugs also have the straw-shaped mouth part, which I added an additional image just so you can get the idea. But on to something a little bit more complicated is taxonomy, which is how we classify organisms in the scientific community. So we're just going to be focusing mainly on the section of class where you can see insects is listed. So according to the Clark Exterminating Company, bugs are a part of the order Hemiptera. So in reality, bugs are a type of insect. And the idea is pushed along even further because you can see that class insects, underneath it is Hemiptera, which is true bugs. So everything in the orange, in the order underneath insects, is a different class of insects, meaning that all of these things fit the criteria to be insects, but they have their own more specific criteria to differentiate themselves from each other. But I also want to bring up the idea of arthropods. So according to the Te Papa Museum of New Zealand, arthropods are animals with exoskeletons, so their skeleton is on the outside. And you're probably wondering why I bring this up at all. But all of the things that we see in our day-to-day lives that we call creepy crawly things that are insects or bugs, not all of them are insects or bugs at all. So things like spiders, scorpions, pill bugs, millipedes, centipedes, all of the things that I've just listed aren't insects or bugs. They're actually under different classes under arthropods. So you can see there's the class arachnid, which includes spiders and scorpions. Then there's also a different class called crustacea, which has pill bugs, and so on and so on. So a more accurate way to define insects or bugs, which we call in our day-to-day lives, would probably be arthropods. But whether you actually change this in your day-to-day vocabulary doesn't really matter to me. I at least hope you understand something about the difference between bugs and insects after listening.